Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode of Spiritual Crash. I am your host, Gethin Mayers, and on this podcast, we talk all things spiritual and just life in general, just to give you a bit of light to your life. Today, we're going to be talking about body insecurities. So this is a topic that's been requested, and it's quite an inspirational topic because I know everyone suffers with body insecurities and there's always something that people want to change about their bodies, but sometimes we can't change certain things. You can't change your eyes, you can't change the shape of your body. If you've got broad shoulders, obviously you can get it reduced and stuff like that, but it's not going to help you. So the easiest way to overcome body insecurities is to embrace them. But if there is things that we can change, such as the weight, eczema, these kind of things. Obviously, I know eczema can't be cured for good, but there's ways that you can help yourself. And there's loads of things that you can boil down to. Things like your height. If you're insecure about your height, that's a very hard thing to change. You wouldn't be able to change your height willy-nilly. But things like your weight, you can change. You have a choice. Obviously, I know some medical conditions and sometimes when people are on medication and stuff like that they're not able to change the weight. But majority of the circumstances, people can change the weight. So today we're going to be talking about body insecurities, and I know that this is such a wide topic for everyone, but we're going to be talking about my experience and the type of insecurities I used to face, because I'm not insecure about my body anymore. I really embrace every part of my body because at the end of the day, I got to live in this every single day. So I might as well be happy with the body I got rather than wishing for change or comparing myself to other people. Because when you realize that this is your body, this is your choice, and the body don't actually affect who you are, it just limits who you are. Say, for instance, you're very overweight. It's going to limit what you're going to be able to do. Say you're very underweight. Is also going to limit what you're going to do. Say, for instance, that you don't like how your hair looks, or you're being very insecure about your nose constantly so that you don't post pictures. In the later years, you might come to regret the fact that you're not posting pictures because of an insecurity, because you're missing out on a memory. And when you finally lose people or you lose contact with people, sometimes it's those little memories that you stumble upon an old picture of how you used to look, or memories and stuff that just spark something inside of you. And if you've got these insecurities where you're not taking the pictures, you're not taking them videos, you're not getting involved in activities and things like that, you might later come to regret them. So my experience is I used to only be insecure about my stomach. So I used to be quite a chunky boy. I used to, from all the drinking, I used to be 180 kg, 128 kg, which is about 20 stone. And I was oblivious to this, and I always thought I was a bit cocky, to be fair. I always thought I was quite a good-looking person, and I was oblivious to the fact that how big I actually got. And then one day, I put on a t-shirt, and it didn't fit quite right. And then all of a sudden, I had this thought just rush through my head where I was comparing myself to the boys I used to bother with. I wasn't even that big compared to them, but because I was overweight, I was huge compared to them. And it was going through my head that I was like, oh my God, I wish I was their size. I wish I was a bit taller. And as soon as I started having one insecurity, it was like a domino effect. It kept coming, it kept coming. And the only other insecurity I used to have as well was eczema. I used to suffer really bad with eczema, and I look back at pictures now and you can see it in pictures where I'm wearing a t-shirt and my eczema was that bad that you can see how flared up. So I used to put all my pictures in black and white just to try and hide it. Looking back, it probably made it worse because obviously the red pigments made it so it's shown out a lot more. So I did everything in my power to try and overcome this eczema, but there was nothing I could do because I just kept scratching. I would use all like the soaps, the natural products, and I just kept scratching and scratching and scratching. So between the weight and the eczema, I've really suffered with those type of insecurities. But just because I haven't suffered with my face not being nice, or I don't like how my shoulders or my hips are too wide, because I know that's a thing for the women. I don't like my feet, blah, blah, blah. Just because I haven't suffered with them doesn't mean how I overcome my insecurities can't help you. So it affected me massively with my mental health. So as everyone knows, that when you're overweight or you're carrying a bit more weight than you would like, as soon as I had that realization, because I was oblivious for so long, I just had all these flashbacks of, oh my God, I've been carrying this weight for so long. I've been oblivious to it. Oh, what was people thinking? What was this? Oh my God, what was I thinking doing this? And I just had all these flashbacks of moments where I was oblivious to it, where people was probably thinking, oh my God, this is awful. Look the size of him. Look at his eczema, and laughing, joking about it. So I went through a really bad stage with it, where I went into this spiral of comparing myself to other people. This was way before I came into the spiritual movement, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. And I've always been very confident with the kind of things I post on my social media. So I don't normally care about what people think of me when it comes to like when I was overweight, that kind of thing. But I cared in person. So over the internet, I never cared. But then when in person, I was very paranoid that people was talking about the size of me. People was talking about my eczema, psoriasis. And it's quite funny how people have that effect on you. Whereas I know a lot of people, they suffer actually with the social media side. They won't post a picture because the angle's not right, or it looks like they got too many chins, or they're not happy with their facial structure, or the way their makeup was, or their hair, or they're not happy with how their hair fell, or it's not their good side. And I think this is just like I said, where we're comparing people. I think it's a thought that we have in our head is we're constantly comparing ourselves to other people, to the standard of other people. Oh, I wish I had their nose. I wish I had their eyes. I wish I looked like them. And because we're comparing ourselves constantly, and social media helps with it massively, because everywhere you look, the standard is so wide. And when you inspire to be someone, we become very self-critical to ourselves, and we start destroying our own spirit because we're not that person. And this is where I come to social media is really good, because it can inspire you. It can inspire you, say for instance, to lose weight. It inspired me to lose weight. When I was looking at people on social media, rather than being envy and jealous of them, it inspired me to be like, well, if they're able to do it, I'm able to do it. I'm able to make the changes for myself. I don't need to feel this way of insecure, because everyone's got their strengths. Everyone's got their pros. You know, everyone's got their weaknesses. I'm not a perfect human. No one is a perfect human. Your example of perfect might be someone else's, worst nightmare. So even like the bodybuilders who are absolutely shredded, they have body insecurities. So it is a common thing. You're not alone when it comes to the body insecurities. So this is where we need to learn how to overcome it. How do we overcome this idea that I'm not perfect, and accept the idea that we're going to have insecurities? There's going to be parts of our body that we're not too keen on. But the way I did it is I broke it down, and I would think to myself, is this something I can change? So let's use height, for example. I was one of the shortest in the friendship group I used to bother with. So all the boys that I used to bother with, they're 6 foot plus. There was one or two boys who was slightly shorter than me. So I was in the middle stage, but growing up, I wanted to be taller. I wanted to be this 6 foot man. I wanted to be this 6'2" man. And I'm actually only 5'9", which is quite short for a man, but I look taller because I got broad shoulders. So, it's common for lots of men to lie about their height, but I'm a very honest person. I'm 5'9" and 3/4. But I knocked the 3/4 off because, I'd rather just be who I am, if that makes sense. So, and And it took me a long time to actually embrace this idea that I can't change it. So what's the point worrying about something that you can't change, you can't control? I can't control I'm 5'9", you know, I could wear higher shoes. But what happens when I take the shoes off? You're just constantly lying to yourself. So it's the same, I guess, with if you're insecure about the way your face looks, so you don't take pictures. We can't really change our face. Obviously, you can wear makeup and stuff, but as soon as the makeup comes off, your face is not going to be how it was. So this is where exercises, like looking in the mirror and saying nice things about yourself, come in massively, because you start to get more comfortable in your own skin. So I always, whenever I first wake up in the morning, first thing I do, obviously I sleep pretty much naked or in my boxers, so I can see my full body. And the first thing I do is look myself in the eye in the mirror, and I tell myself some nice things about myself just to start my day off right. And this has helped me massively with my body insecurities. Don't get me wrong, some days I wake up, I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh my God, you are huge, you're back to where you were, you know, you need to sort yourself out. And then I'll go downstairs and then like my mom or I'll go outside, someone will be like, oh my God, you've lost so much weight. And then I snap back into this reality that, yeah, I'm happy with how I am. I'm happy with who I am because I got this skin and it's not going anywhere. So I might as well embrace it. I've also, my eczema, I've cleared up massively because I've started looking after my skin a lot more. So because I have tattoos, and I'm not saying, oh, you need to go and get tattoos to clear up all your problems. Don't get me wrong, tattoos do help with a lot of problems. But since having tattoos and swapping over to more natural products, my eczema's cleared up. The type of foods I'm eating, my eczema's cleared up. So I know it's not going to be a quick fix for everyone, but one of my biggest insecurities of the eczema, I've able to train my mind to not scratch it. So don't get me wrong, like it's like a little bit, you can see it a little bit. So there is a little bit still there, but because of the tattoos and because I'm not scratching as often, it's not as bad as it was. So that it's able to heal and I'm feeling much more confident. I'm happy to wear vests and shirts and stuff now. And a lot of people ask me as well, they're like, oh, you're always topless, blah, blah, blah. And I say, yeah, I am. I've come a long way. I used to be huge. I used to be absolutely huge. I've worked hard on my body. A lot of people come in, they're like, oh, you're so beautiful, you're handsome, all this. And I'm like, thank you so much. I've worked hard on myself to get where I am, to the point where I don't feel insecure about myself, where I feel like I could be the biggest man in the room spiritually with the energy I give, rather than having to close myself off because I don't feel good in my own skin. So my best advice for you is to help with insecurities. It's the type of clothes you wear. Because when you feel confident in the clothes you're wearing and they fit your body well, you could be the biggest person or the smallest person. But the type of clothes you wear, if you feel confident in it, this is going to help you massively with your insecurities. Because confidence is key. Because all an insecurity is, it's just nervous energy. It's anxiety energy. So if we can turn that energy into a confident energy so that we feel confident going into a room, going places on our own, not caring what people think about us. Because the biggest advice is you got to do things for you. You got to do it for you. Because when you start doing things for other people, things don't last. You get in your own head and things become a lot worse. Things keep moving. And in the end, you just become this big ball of insecurities and it's a domino effect. But it's also a domino effect when we're nice to ourselves, when we start feeling confident in ourselves, that we know some things we can't change in life, and just learning that if we can't change it, there's no point worrying about it. And the only person we need to compare ourselves to is who we were yesterday, not who someone else is today. And this is one of the quotes I got tattooed on me as a constant reminder. Like I said, I'm always looking in the mirror. It's on my rib. And this quote, every time I found myself comparing myself to other people, I would remind myself of this quote. Compare yourself to who you are today, not who someone else is. Wait, no. I got that wrong. I got that backwards. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not who someone else is today. So that's a quote I always say. We love a bit of laughter, and I'm a one-take kind of guy, so that's staying in. But yeah, it's just one of these things. You just got to get in your head that some things in life you can't control. I can't control how my face looks. I can't control how my hair grows. You know, I can get a cut regular, but I can't control the fact that I got a bit of a crown, so I have to have a certain hairstyle to help that. You know, if you're insecure about your forehead, for example, have a fringe, because that way then you're feeling confident with it. Or like go to hairstyles that suit your head shape. I know there's like hundreds of apps online to find your shape of your head and stuff, but it's all about building that confidence. It's all about moving forward and embracing the fact that some things we can't change, and it's our body. It's our body. We have to live with this every single day. And unfortunately, we can't just switch bodies. We can't have someone else's life. So the life we have, we need to make the most of it. So why would you want to walk around every day? And this is the lesson I learned. And it's not easy at all. It's not an easy thing at all. But why would you want to walk around every day hating yourself when you got that body and the majority of it you can't change? So I hope this have helped put into perspective that it is possible to overcome body insecurities, but they're going to happen. And it's how you react and catch yourself reacting to the body insecurities and like focusing on the bits that you can change. Like, I could change my weight. I've found a way to maintain my eczema. It's not gone completely, but it's a lot less than what it was, to the point where I feel very confident in my skin. I don't care now what people think of me, because I know you just got to let them. And that brings me on to a book I've been reading about the let them theory. And the let them theory is a huge, huge thing. Few of you have probably heard about it. It's by Mel Robbins. And let me tell you, the let them theory, it just sums up everything I've been saying for such a long time, that the only thing in life you can control is your own actions, your own responses, your own thoughts. So if you catch yourself thinking bad thoughts about yourself, replace it with a positive one, because this is going to help you so much when it comes to the body insecurities. Because when you start looking at yourself and you actually think, you know what, I love the fact that my nose is a little bit wonky. It makes me a bit different. You know what, I love the fact that my eyes are slightly wider apart. That is who I am. I can't change that. I love me. I love me. I love the fact I can be myself. And we're going to start doing this every morning. When we wake up in the morning, look in the mirror, and you're going to say some nice things about yourself. Start your day off well, rather than looking in the mirror and be like, oh, I don't like this, don't like this, don't like this. Focus on the things you can change. If you can change it, start putting the work in. It's not going to happen overnight, but my God, it's possible. Focus on your clothes, changing your style to find clothes that fit you properly, that make you feel confident, because confidence is key to overcoming it. And I don't care what anyone says, any person can become confident. It's just the fact that we care too much about what other people think. It's only embarrassing if you feel embarrassed. If you want to dance, dance in public, because it's fun. If you're slightly overweight, underweight, and you're scared to make a fool of yourself by dancing, singing, doing things that you enjoy, well, why? It's because you're caring about what other people are thinking rather than what you're thinking, and you build these scenarios in your head. So it's all about finding ways to build yourself with confidence so that you do things for you, which is the important thing. Doing things for yourself. So I really hope this has helped you. I'll go into a bit more detail about it. It's one of these things where, because I haven't really had many body insecurities, I can't really speak out of my experience on it. But all I know is my body insecurities were fixed when I had a bit of confidence and realized to just love who you are, because you gotta live with yourself every single day. So thank you all so much for watching this episode of Spiritual Crash. This is episode 15. I've been your host, Gethin Mayers, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm proud of you. I believe in you. Let's just go and smash whatever life has to throw at us.